This is the Stubborn German podcast, coming to you from the always cool Stubborn German Brewing Company in nearly sweltering Waterloo, Illinois. I'm Kevin Ostie, joined by the host and proprietor of the Stubborn German Brewing Company, Mr. Chris Ron.
Hello, Kevin. How are you?
I'm outstanding.
Great.
And, of course, our producer, Mr. Jared Chasson.
Good evening.
What's up, Jared?
Good evening, for sure.
It is.
Mm-hmm. And a very special guest, Mr. Tyler, I'm going to say, is it Buchheit?
Yes.
Just like it's spelled.
Well, I mean, if you want to be all German, Buchheit.
Buchheit.
There we go.
Buchheit.
Nailed it.
Buchheit. I love that.
Or as my grandmother would have said, Buchheit.
Buchheit, yeah.
Buchheit.
Yeah. Well,
I've never called you either of those.
Yeah, well, you know, you learn something new every day.
Right.
You never met his grandmother.
That's also
true.
correct.
So one of the reasons why Tyler is joining us, besides a whole plethora of fun stories that we'll reveal later, is that Tyler's one of the few legitimate German speakers that we've ever had on this program.
Right. Yes, I know.
We're not sure that's such a great idea.
Imagine trying to come up with a German word of the day for someone that literally can speak German. So,
Right.
yeah.
So
It does kind of ruin the segment, you know.
Yeah, it's
At least puts us at a disadvantage. Yeah.
does our horrible interpretation of German just frustrate you so you turn off the podcast?
I think that's why he's here, right?
He's going to set it straight.
Yeah, I mean, every now and then you got to have somebody point it out. You know, like,
Every now and then.
well, I
it's
mean,
now,
and,
friends.
And Chris is always the one that you know. It's like, ooh,
Oh, good. I don't feel so bad then.
It's not Kevin. It's just me.
gosh. No, it's all.
I know.
If you're wondering what Mr. Tyler's talking about, this is the almost impossible to win game. Now we're gonna have a winner.
Maybe.
Called the German word of the day, in which Chris butchers the pronunciation of a German word, and we try to guess it and get it wrong.
That's right. Are you ready for
It's
the
a lot of-
word?
it's a lot of
We're
fun.
ready.
Okay. The German word of the day, folks, is Weisheit.
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 Ooh.
Well, we like to be polite on this
certainly
podcast
do.
and let our guests go first.
So you can just copy off of whatever he
For sure.
says.
Yeah.
Well, Weisheit. I always go back to Weisheit des Tages.
That's what I do.
Of course.
Weisheit des Tages.
You too? Yeah.
It is the fact of the day or the information of the day.
And in this case-
But in this case, Weisheit is,
Ostie's thinking he could get this wrong. He's thinking.
We have had some confident guests before. Who
We
got it
sure
wrong.
have.
Yes.
I mean,
Information of the day is got a catchy feel to it.
Information of the day.
Good afternoon. May I have the information of the day?
is that your final answer? Information of the day.
well, not
We say, hey, what's up, dude? It is now time for the information of the day.
Nine. I need information.
I mean, it's kind of a borderline between reality. You know, I don't have a lexicon up there. It's just kind of
Yeah.
stuff jumbled around, mixed up with sausage and
understand.
beer.
Yeah, well,
So
I'm already thoroughly impressed. By
yeah,
the fact
Well,
you were
just
able
take a
to
guess, or we can
expand
come
on
back
it.
to you.
come back to me. Device side. Wow. Yeah, come circle
Pressure's
around.
on.
Circle,
Okay,
circle
Weisheit.
back.
I'm just happy he didn't just go, oh, it's that.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump in.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's the word of the day.
The word of the day. I
The-
was thinking German
The
word of the
Weisheit
day.
is the word of the day.
That's what
Yes.
I'm thinking. Because I'm
Well.
connecting who the guest is and what
Okay.
his hidden talent is. I've heard this show before.
Yes.
Kevin
Well,
says the word of the day.
As good a
Jared,
guess as that might be, Kevin, I think it's probably more like the vegetable. I'm going to say it's the vegetable. It's the
I
German
would
Weisheit.
love
That's nice.
A little bit
Yeah,
of the day, or
it's
just a vegetable?
it's just a vegetable. Today's special is the Weisheit.
The vegetable. Got it. Okay.
Hey, Cookie, what's the Weisheit?
And sorry, but back to Tyler.
All right, so Weisheit
now
is
he's cheating.
Weisheit is wisdom of the day. Wisdom, Weisheit, die Weisheit.
Wisdom
It's. I feel like it's vegetable though.
day. Could be
Yeah.
vegetable. Could be
Are you sure
wisdom of
it's
the day.
not at all?
Are you sure it's not fruit?
Right. It might be fruit.
Could
Weisheit.
be word
fruit.
of the day. Interesting
Okay.
guesses. Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, we all know how this little game works, and we will get back to this at the end of the
the end of
episode.
the show.
Yeah, so now you have to listen.
Yep.
Right on. Well, Tyler, I heard this morning that you were on an airplane on your way here. Good to see you made it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Delta did exactly what you want them to do. Brought me straight from Minneapolis to St. Louis.
Sweet.
Yeah.
What was happening in the MN?
Well, I just started a new job and traveled out to Jamestown, North Dakota.
Nice.
Because, I mean, I've always wanted to go there.
Have
So, yeah, man.
Okay.
You know, sure.
Sure. Yeah. There's lots of
Yeah.
fun stuff there.
So I flew into Fargo, and Fargo's actually not what I thought it was going to be. It's a bigger town, you know. Yeah,
That's
kind
cool.
Kind of impressive. Didn't
Okay.
really stay there. I got to see the world's biggest buffalo
Did you?
in Jamestown. Yeah, it's 59 feet tall.
Was it alive?
No, it's
Oh.
made out
Yes,
of
Chris.
yeah.
It's grass.
Well, it's petrified.
Grass-fed.
Well, he didn't
actually.
say it was a statue.
It is definitely all grass
Just
fed.
a 59-foot tall
Yeah.
living.
Just hanging out in South Dakota.
Now the question is it a buffalo or a bison?
Ooh.
Because here I was told
Yeah.
here in the U.S. they're bison.
Oh,
Well,
really?
So the sign said buffalo. I don't know.
So you could,
I just have to believe what the locals put on it.
yeah. So
Where are they buffalo?
the guy that pointed out to me said the ones with the long nose and the long horns and kind of the foreheads that go down are in the African continent. Those are buffalo. The bison is the big neck
Interesting,
with the
okay.
fur on the head.
Yeah.
You know.
This
and the-
whole time we've been saying it wrong.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was pointed out to me and really emphasized how wrong I was.
Wow.
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 So are you telling me that Buffalo Trace should be
Oh,
called
geez.
Bison
Trace.
Trace?
So you got to take it up with them next time you're down there.
That's not my fight.
Yeah, well, you'll notice you don't really see buffalo burgers. You see bison burgers.
That's true.
And that
Yeah.
could be a USDA thing. I can't misrepresent
Right.
your food.
That's true.
Wow,
Yeah.
I made that up.
I mean,
Well,
it's reasonable,
believe it.
you know.
Sounds like you're stepping in it there.
could be. I don't know.
My kids, I sent them a picture, and they asked me, "Was there a big pile of buffalo?" You know,
The
what?
biggest.
and
14 feet
I
tall.
know that's what I was expecting, but like, there's
that real?
it's not anatomically correct. There's not a pile of you know what behind it. So, yeah, it was a little bit of a letdown actually. I put it in a suggestion box.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to finish this
Yeah.
project.
Get working on the tail end.
Nice. Well, we're glad you survived that and you're
Yes.
able to join us.
For sure.
So you a local lad?
Yeah, so Perryville is my
right.
is my home, and so I got to know Chris and Tammy. Golly, when I was living in Ellis Grove, so local relative to the area, Randolph County.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I got every now and then they would let us out of Randolph County into Monroe County. You gotta bribe
Nice
the
of 'em.
border guards or something.
Right.
But,
Yeah, the question is, did they let you out or did they let you in?
well, it's all relative.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Around here, they all are relatives. I've learned.
Wow.
Well, I hear you. I mean, I had to cross the river to find somebody I wasn't kin to.
Yeah, see?
Right?
And even then, we were related by marriage, like 5, generations.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
I grew up in northern Illinois, and I think I end up being related to half the people here now just over time.
Yeah, I mean, of course, they say you start to look like people you hang out with.
Yeah.
As we all look at each other.
Yeah. Like,
Going, I hope not, man. For your sake.
Jeez.
Good thing we're all good looking.
That's right.
that's right. The best.
So was German a second language in the household, or
Yeah, so I'm 5th generation German in ancestry in the U.S. So my relatives on both sides of the family immigrated either in the 1830s or 1840s.
Cool.
The Buchheit side of the family is all German Catholics. They came over in the 1830s. Buchheit, Bonert, Meyer, Dreyer,
Yeah.
Meyer, all kinds of good German names. Unterreiner was another one. My mom's side of the family, they came over in the Saxon Lutheran immigration in East Perry County, Missouri, in the 1840s.
Gotcha.
the
And,
great Saxon? Lutheran
Yeah.
immigration?
Apparently,
That's what they call it. Yeah.
supposedly it was. I mean, there was several hundred came over, and I mean, religious freedom was their call. But Schlimpert, Lorenz, you start
Yeah.
singer, you go down the line. So it's all German all the way.
Nice.
I bring
Several
that
of those
forward.
were words of the day, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Start
I-
singer was, I know.
I
Totally.
remember a few of them, yeah.
Yeah, start singer, anyway, we won't even need to go into the explanation of some of those names, but But so my grandparents on both sides of the family still spoke German at home. And I grew up, my grandma would be talking to her sisters or whatever on the telephone. Anytime she didn't want me to know what the heck they were saying, it was auf Deutsch. And of course it was Badisch dialect, so it was even worse. It was harder to understand. Of course I didn't know any different at the time. And my mom's mom and dad, I knew both grandparents, they spoke it at home. And, they actually tried to teach me a few things.
Sure.
I mean, not the stuff they didn't want me to know.
Right, yeah.
But, it was... So, I mean, I got started there. And when I went to high school, you had to take a foreign language or whatever. And it was German, Spanish, or French. I'm like, well, I don't really want to... German makes sense. I want to know what Grandma's saying.
Yeah,
yeah.
Now you'll know.
So I did that for 2 or 3 years in high school, and went to SEMO, and I had to go and take a language class for whatever university credits, and walked in the class, and here's Dr. Eckert, and she only spoke auf Deutsch, and I was the only kid in the class that could interact with her.
So did you charge the other kids what she sang?
That would have been, well, I mean, I was a freshman. I was really nervous, and she immediately drugged me to the dean's office right after class, introduced me to Dr. Dieter Jadan, also a German professor. Nice. And she said, "Oh, Tyler's our newest German major." And she didn't ask me, and she didn't tell me. She told him.
Boom.
And I thought real fast. I was like, well, I could always change my major, sure.
Where's the scholarship?
Yeah, right. Let's talk.
Yeah, right.
In
There's
German.
Let's talk Deutschmarks.
Deutschmarks. So I stuck with it, and I mean, I ended up studying German language at SEMO and got an ag business degree. And I thought, well, I'll never use the German. It's just fun. And I ended up working for a company that got bought by a German company. And
how about that?
Wow.
Yeah. So I've got some friends that live over there, and I've been to Germany every year for the last 3 now.
Nice.
And I'm going again this fall. Unfortunately, it's right after Oktoberfest.
After?
Yeah, well, it's the
can
largest
help
farm.
clean up.
Agritechnica. It's the largest farm show in the world.
Yeah.
So they claim.
Cool.
And that's in November. So the 9th through the 16th or whatever it is, I'll be in Hanover.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's outstanding.
Yeah.
Interesting that they're reporting that as the largest ag show in the world.
Yeah, I mean, there's another one, I think, in Brazil that claims to be the largest, but, I don't know. I've never been to either one, so can't say. Yeah.
You don't speak Portuguese, so you can't go to Brazil and find out?
I had a roommate when I lived in Germany, because I had to live a semester abroad, and I had a roommate, Teresa Junqueira, and she was from Brazil and spoke Portuguese.
Really?
And they taught us how to samba.
See? This guy.
Well, you could do it then.
Right.
I couldn't. I mean, I can. So if I hear Portuguese, I know
You'll
it.
know that
I know
that's what it
it
is.
That's
but
a
I don't
heck of
know
a
what,
language.
But I
That
don't
is-
know what they're saying.
Yeah.
It's sexy as heck. I mean, wow. And then the dancing on top of that. Wow. I mean, it's culturally, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we need the Portuguese word of the day for the.
Ooh.
I would try that for an episode or two,
why
see if
not?
it catches on.
Well, maybe his spinoff is the stubborn Portuguese and brewing company.
I hear
That
they're
sounds like a wine bar to me.
World
Yeah.
famous for lots of great beer.
I mean, I think they drink some beer in Brazil.
Do they?
Yeah, they
And
do.
in Portugal, too. So
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
Of course,
Absolutely.
Jared knows well Nuno Betancourt, Portuguese
Oh,
descent.
yeah. Nuno.
The
I
greatest
have
guitar players in the
my
world.
ex-brother-in-law is from Brazil, and so my nephews and nieces speak Portuguese, and he speaks. I mean, they speak English
Do they,
most of the time.
They order for you at Fogo de Chao?
Yes, they
Yeah.
do. I said I'll have the
They order
Brazilian
your chicken tenders.
steak over here.
I need another stick. Can you tell them? I need another
What's
stick.
Portuguese for chicken tenders? I don't know where that.
Bratwurst.
Where did that come from? By the way,
I
that I
have
have
no
this
idea.
reputation for chicken tenders.
I don't know, but I can't let it die.
It's pretty funny.
Next
actually.
time I'm at Fogo de Chao, I'm going to see if they got that on the kids' menu.
I'm sure they do.
I've never seen any kids at Brazilian Steakhouse. Have you?
I
too
didn't.
expensive.
Once again, I didn't look for them.
Yeah, I mean, same.
Just like the pickled cow's tongue at
Pickled
the
cow's tongue at the IGA.
IGA in Redbud.
Yeah. I mean, you'd want to talk about something that's old school German. My both grandmas would cook cow tongue in the summertime
Yeah.
for my grandpa while he was working in the farm. For real.
Special treat.
And
Give him a licking.
a licking.
Okay.
Here's the tongue.
If you've never had cow tongue, and especially if you ever had tacos de lengua,
Well,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
well, that's cow tongue.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic.
It is good.
Yeah.
No, it's great.
The best lingua burrito actually I had was in Wendover, Utah, at the little taco trailer when we go out for the salt flat races. The thing that I can't figure out about this taco trailer is it is less than the size of the cage that we're in here as we record this at the Stubborn German in the brewery section. But they are able to feed people all night for several days.
Right.
I don't know how it all fits in there that it is enough to serve outward. But
Yeah,
It is
where's
a
all that
miracle.
meat?
They just
I don't
fly it
know.
in by drone in the middle of the night, or
I don't know. I didn't ask. So, well, right on. So you work in the ag world.
yeah. Yep.
What kind of stuff? What's your daily?
Well, so I've been in ag sales for, 10 years, and even more. I've worked for John Deere dealer locally, the one that Chris probably got his lawnmower from.
Probably.
Good chance. And so I did that. I've worked for wholesalers selling parts to dealers. So
Gotcha.
repair parts for combines and tractors and the plows and stuff like that. Yeah.
I got to talk to you about a battery on a 4200 John Deere.
Yeah,
See?
4200.
Yeah.
That's classic Yanmar.
Vintage, man. Yeah.
No, that's not vintage. That's
Well, I mean, 4200. They haven't made those in this century. So,
Holy
It,
cow!
it goes
Chris.
by fast, Chris.
I mean, for real,
I guess
I
it
think
does.
that would
How
be
do you even mow your lawn?
Pre 98, Chris.
I thought it was
Yeah.
an 01. Anyway, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I did get one from an aftermarket supplier today, and it's a 12-volt system, and it had 3 volts in the battery.
Wow.
Needless to say, it did not start.
but it was 75% off.
It was not. And the nice guy at the parts store offered to take it back and charge it up for me and then give it back. I was like, I would rather just kind of have a fresh one that's not dead. So.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll talk later.
Yeah, for
There you go.
sure. For sure. I'll
What's
talk.
the German word for battery?
Aku.
Of course.
Bless you.
Gosh dang it. I could have made that a German word of the day.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, if your battery is dead, you say my Aku is leer.
It's
My
layer.
battery is empty.
go in
It's
there
empty?
and demand that. Yeah.
Lair.
I
mean,
might try that. actually.
After I drank this delicious glass of stubborn German
Say
beer,
my
and
Maschkruge?
Yeah.
it's lair.
Lair?
It's empty. Yeah, Leer.
Oh, okay.
Lair,
Lair.
empty. Interesting.
Gotcha.
So
That's handy. Okay, thanks.
you've
Use that. Yeah.
I will, yeah.
you spent some time in Germany recently. We were chatting a little bit before the show about, was it your first visit when you were 15?
Yeah. So I went over to Germany with a friend of mine. He moved to the U.S. when he was in, I think, about 7 or 8, and we became classmates. Got to know each other really well, and his grandparents lived over there, and he was going for the summer as he would normally do to visit and hang out. And he said, "Hey, would you want to come along?" And I said, "Well, yeah."
Yeah.
My parents are like, "Yeah, sure. Just come back in time to help us farm."
Yeah, go
You
get
know?
some culture.
Yeah. So it was good.
Get out of our
were-
hair.
I didn't speak much German at the time, but Oma had the good cooking, and Opa had the cold beer, and it was quite an experience.
The cool beer.
The cool beer, yeah, cellar cool, and I mean,
Slightly colder than room temperature.
it always
beer.
kills me when everybody's like, "Oh, the Germans drink warm beer," and it's like, well, relatively speaking to American standards, maybe, but
Right.
it's, they don't let it sit out on the back porch in the sun.
Yeah, it's definitely not hot.
It's
right?
in
They're
the
not
coldest.
British.
Yeah, come on.
It's in the coldest part of the basement, 60 degrees or whatever that is. But it's you get used to it. It didn't take long.
See, I don't mind that. I'm not an ice guy when it comes to like ice cold water on a summer day or an ice cold beer, and really, I think
Bud Ice.
Bud Ice for sure.
Natty ice.
Right. Yes, all Ice House.
All that. You're not
Remember Ice House?
Ice House.
Yeah, the Plank Road Brewery. Yeah, I remember all that. So I think I had a brain freeze trying to chug a pitcher once.
Yeah.
And I thought, this isn't a good idea. And I later learned that the Eastern cultures they drink warm tea all the time, and it only makes sense. It minimizes like internal distress.
Yeah.
Because it breaks up, greases and acids and stuff in your system, so it stays moving. But when you flip that and put something ice cold, when you rinse the grease off your pots and pans, you don't use cold water.
No,
you use
that'd be
warm.
silly. Yeah.
But the warm water will break that stuff up, right? So then I started to see these people that are dumping ice in their dogs' bowls and hearing about how dogs they get
Yeah,
hurt, they get
right.
clogged up, and they don't do well. So when it comes to the beer, that cool 60s earth temperature, I think would go down really well.
Yeah.
I wish I could agree with you, but I just love ice cold beer.
Cold beer,
Just give it to me cold. I appreciate warm beer too. But that is my one vice as a craft brewer. I like ice cold beer.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, if it's like it's really hot out, and you can just picture how great that ice cold beer is going to be. I mean, I can do a half of one right away, but I'm not going to do all of them. It'll get to me.
So is that a thing in the craft brewing where they kind of don't want it too cold?
Right.
Or
yes.
So are you the exception? Your beer's
I'm not
always
the only
pretty-
one.
You're the only one with cold beer. Okay.
No, I'm sure there's plenty of people that enjoy cold beer.
Well,
I can't say I've been to many other craft breweries where it was not cold.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's,
Maybe a little warmer than you're used to.
I think like if you really want to do that and let it warm, you buy it and let it warm up. So
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
So what's the thermostat set at? I mean, or is that proprietary?
here.
Yeah.
33.
We don't talk about it.
35.
35.
Yeah.
So I mean, how would that compare to some of your fellow craft brewers, or do you
I don't
guys
know.
discuss?
I
that?
haven't discussed that but I could. I can report back the next episode.
Be curious to know.
Yeah.
Well, on that topic, I have a question, and this is timely because it's very hot out. It's summertime.
Sure is.
Yep.
What's going to happen if you go to the grocery store and by the time you get home, that 30-pack of natty you put in the truck bed is now like boiling hot?
Yeah.
Just throw it out, or
I would throw it out even if it didn't get boiling.
well, I know.
I've
I'm not advocating anybody drink that.
I've got a buddy that would take it. He wouldn't care.
Yeah,
but after he recools it,
Yeah.
does it affect it?
Yeah.
Is the question.
temperature, sunlight, oxygen, those are all beer spoilers, basically.
So a can is
So-
your best defense at that point.
Yeah, because you won't have the sun. Hopefully, there's no oxygen or bacteria or anything bad like that. But yeah, if it gets warm, it's gonna it will. There are some. I don't know exactly what.
It'll
I don't have the
develop a wang.
scientific term that you're looking for here, but
Yeah.
it will be a little iffy.
All right. So,
But your macro brews are going to be pasteurized all.
Pretty
well.
and
Yeah.
that helps that situation. But still, I think flavor wise, there's
Yeah.
things that happen as things get hot again, because there's there's a reason you don't pasteurize for any longer than you need to. You do
Right.
as short as you can to get the job done, kill all the bacteria, and then you get it back cold right away when you're pasteurizing.
So I got a little fun story about warm beer.
Okay.
Actually, hot beer, to be honest. So, the farm boy growing up in southeast Missouri, I used to drive a combine for a relative and combine fescue seed, about this time of the year when it's nice and hot. And air conditioning was optional until recently, right? In Missouri, at least.
Yeah.
And, neighbor was combining fescue in his gleaner and just tooling around all day, and he needed some help, so I went over and helped him. And here he's like, "Oh, hey," he said, "thanks a lot." He's like, "You want a beer?" I was like, "Yeah, sure. I'm thirsty." So he reaches under the seat of his combine.
Ooh, yeah.
He had a case of Stag. It is 100 degrees out.
No.
Burn your
And he
hand.
hands me the Stag. Oh, God. And he's drinking it like, "Oh, it's pretty good." I'm like, "No, it's
crack it open,
actually
and there's
actually
steam coming out of
It
the
is
bottle.
actually not so good."
Yeah.
And that was truly hot beer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not even. It was past warm.
Did you drink it all?
I cracked it and I sipped it and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to let this cool off."
I think at that point they call it slag. It's
Yeah.
not stag anymore.
The tea becomes an L.
I mean,
It's just slag.
don't get me wrong. A cold Stag I can do, and Chris, I think you've
Oh,
alluded to it on
absolutely.
the podcast. I mean, if you got to drink a macro brew, that's on the list.
That's right. Nothing wrong with a good stag.
Yeah. So
I think we've talked about this, but my first experience with beer was Stag out of a guy's trunk. And it wasn't hot. It wasn't like combine in the field.
I thought I heard this story before, actually, when Tyler was telling it, but I guess it was Jerry.
Right. No, this was not hot in the sense of like in the middle of a farmer's field hot, but it was
like a suitcase
It was
trunk or-
warm. Like it was. Yeah. It was not good, and it turned me off to beer for a long, long time. Like anybody that knows me knows I didn't drink beer for a long time.
What he's leaving out is his best friend was a guy named Dumbo. When it was,
Right, out of his trunk.
Out of his trunk. Just
I
sprayed
do
him-
love
sprayed him
Stag
down.
now. It is my, besides in my fridge, if it's not Stubborn German, it is Stag. in
There
my
we go.
fridge right
Stag
now.
is not a bad beer.
Yeah.
by any stretch.
They went back, and they finally went back to their original logo. I mean,
Yeah,
they went on
yeah.
that little sidecar thing,
Yeah.
whatever that was, for a while, and
They had an identity crisis, but I think they got it back.
they got woke for a minute.
They
but,
did.
they've come back. So
So
They fell back asleep.
I still love the billboard. There was one kind of in your
by
older neck
Chester.
of the woods by Chester that it had the giant goblet with
Yes.
stag not for beginners.
Not for beginners. There's one in Belleville.
Yeah, they had one on Route 15 in Belleville.
Uh-huh.
That was glorious.
It was really
Oh, it
cool.
is. Yeah.
You know, you can supposedly buy those billboard covers when they get faded out or whatever, and they're done. How awesome would that be on the back of your shed?
That would look great, like on the ceiling or something in here.
Yeah. Another one of those ideas that
Probably won't happen.
Tammy's like,
Yeah.
No.
let's talk
I
about
mean,
it.
I would agree. You know, stubborn's probably not for beginners. I mean, I don't know. What do you,
Well, I tell you what, I would think that if you had a beginner, this would be a great place to begin.
oh, well.
That's right.
That is
That's
true.
right.
You know,
there,
that's,
there you go.
That's
Kevin.
true. You're changing my perspective here.
See how
I
that
like to
goes?
think we have something for everybody, even beginners. But
Steer
but
people
I,
on the
I
right
know
course.
what you mean, though.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think you come here to get good taste.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll get you there.
Along those lines, we had last weekend, my daughter's college graduation party was held in the Speakeasy here at Stubborn German.
Yeah, how did that go?
It was amazing.
Great.
Thank you for the great venue.
Thank
But
you.
one of the perks of having it in the Speakeasy, and maybe this is just me, I don't know, you get to choose the beers that's going to be on tap.
Jared, that's just you.
Oh,
just
sorry.
you, yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Well,
I'll
no
edit
one else
this
gets
out.
to do that.
All
No,
right.
But
I'm
how-
kidding.
how
Everyone,
good is it?
everyone gets that.
Yeah. So you tell Chris or Tammy 8 beers that you want, and they have a good variety. And so, of course, a lot of these kids are 21, 22. They just graduated college. They're what we could call inexperienced drinkers. Actually, they're probably not. But they're not used to craft beer at this stage of their life.
Right.
So you got to have something for them.
Sure.
And it's nice that Stubborn does have the Kolsch and the Old Ledger and things like that kind of ease you in, and then you can
Yeah.
get the Stubborn Fest and the alt beers and the
That's
IPAs and yeah.
Was anyone mad we didn't have blueberry wheat down there?
Everyone commented, "Where's the blueberry wheat?" I tried, folks. I tried to get blueberry wheat. No, it's funny because I was telling people, a few different people, what beers we were going to have, and I said blueberry wheat. And I always had to be like, I know, and Chris doesn't even like brewing it, but people love it. So
And then they come to the party and it's not even
it's
on.
not there. No, that's okay.
Nor is the pumpkin.
Yes,
That's hilarious.
right.
No, that's not there either.
Yeah, one of these days I'm gonna have like a fall party, and I want blueberry wheat, strawberry wheat, pumpkin. What other?
And then just
Hey,
put,
the
put
rest of
those
them are
on again.
sours. Just sours, right?
Yeah,
Round
and
it
the
out.
sour
Sours
and,
and
Something with a lot of
and
habaneros.
zilch. Yeah, we want
A
zilch.
lot of peppers.
Zilch.
So I think
Segueing into that.
Yeah, we need to look at the board over
Yeah.
there because
Yeah.
there's some really interesting beers.
There is.
One beer, and I love the name Zilch because that's I'm going to
Yeah.
say that is, if it's not already, now it is a German word.
Absolutely.
Zilch.
It must be.
Zilch has to be. Oh, yeah. I was
Yeah.
gonna spell it Ziltch.
Ooh,
Yes.
that would have been a proper German.
That would have been good. Yeah.
It's like, let's not go too crazy here.
Is that
So-
proving to be somewhat
Yeah.
popular?
Yeah, it is actually.
It actually
yeah.
does
Uh-huh.
taste pretty good.
Yeah. We made a bunch of tests. So we're talking about the non-alcoholic beer we made. So
Zilch alcohol.
now there's finally
Zilchohol.
Zilchohol. There's finally yeast on the market that basically does not eat maltose, the sugar that you're fermenting when you brew. So
He says finally because he's just been longing
Waiting.
for
we've
this.
all been
Yeah.
well. People have asked a long time, a
Right.
while back, like why don't you make any beer? And usually the answer is because you need to distill it, or there's vacuum distillation. There's ways to do it, but with equipment that we would never ever have.
Right.
So now there's yeast that you can buy. It's expensive yeast, but yeah, you buy it, you make
Yeah.
a batch of it, and we can all of it, and then we have to pasteurize all of it. So we don't pasteurize anything except for that beer. So that's kind of a
Super special,
its
that
own
Zilch.
thing. Yeah, well, it's harder to make, it's more expensive, and we sell it for less.
I was
And
going to say
there's
it's
no
a heck of a
booze.
deal.
Yeah, and it does nothing.
Yes, right.
And it does nothing for
It's
you.
ineffective.
So it's my most confusing beer to me, anyway.
That's pretty
But
cool,
yeah,
though.
it tastes like beer, and it's kind of a hoppy beer. It's more like an American pale ale style. So
Okay.
there are some hops there, and mainly, I'd love to do like a German style beer for NA, but there's probably not. You need those hops to kind of they're sort of working to give it some flavor
it
there.
fundamentally wouldn't be the German beer.
Right, correct.
Yeah.
So this style works. There's a couple other styles that might work, but like they're kind of few and far between. So
fun fact about alcohol fry beer. As a
alcohol
German,
fry,
alcohol fry,
of course.
Yeah, it's actually way more popular in Germany today than one might
really
guess.
Well, it's because you can start at 8 in the morning and show up at work.
Well, not even that, but like you can drink 3 of them and you don't feel full. I don't know if if the alcohol has something to do with your feel of satiation, like your stomach feels full. I don't know. But that's what the Germans tell me when they drink. I haven't gone on that ledge and looked over.
Do you get full after drinking 3 Zilches, Chris?
Yeah.
I don't remember the last time I had 3 Zilches.
Oh, okay.
Well,
not because I just have bad memory.
Right. Because after that, he had 3.
We're going to have to repeat
IPAs.
that experiment.
But on paper, it should be every bit as
same,
filling, if not even more, because the way that works is you brew a very low gravity beer and it ferments very, very little of it, so it still is the same gravity basically. So, and I would think the filling nature of it is
the carbs,
is the gravity, the specific gravity. So it's literally thicker, more sugar in there, and so you're leaving that sugar behind because the yeast isn't fermenting it. Like Stag you talked about is so dry, all of the sugar is just fermented out, and that's why it's. That's why you can drink 25 of them. I mean, not that I've ever done that.
That's why my grandpa said, "Oh, Stag's good for diabetics."
That's right.
Yeah. I'm not sure beer's good for diabetics, but sure,
Stag
Grandpa.
is though.
Yeah, but Stag. That's
I'm not a doctor. Do not listen to what I say. I'm legally obligated to say that.
Well, I think it's interesting that you don't see craft breweries brewing an NA, and it's probably because it's as complicated as you're saying.
Yeah. And especially to get it in a can. I mean, you can keg and serve it on draft and keep it in your walk-in, and usually that's pretty safe. But to want to put it in a can and let people buy those cans and take it and do whatever, you need to be pasteurizing those finished cans to make sure that no other, because if like just a few cells of I'm not going to say wild yeast, but contaminating yeast. So it might
rogue.
be there. You go, rogue yeast from a different batch gets into that can.
Yeah.
However it gets there, you'll have fermentation in that can, and it'll get rock hard. You'll open it. It could explode in the fridge.
wow.
It could,
Nice.
yeah, it could be a bad deal. So that pasteurization has to be right. So yeah, we do it in the mash tun here and fill it up with hot water, drain it, fill it up one more time and drain it. Check grab a can in the middle, pop it open, check the internal temp of it, and yeah.
Wow.
Zilch is a real pain.
Yeah.
It sure is. We love it, though. We love it.
Come up here and buy it if you're not into drinking alcohol.
Or don't, so we don't have to keep doing this.
Yeah.
I mean, this
Can we
might
just
be
phase it out?
a unique opportunity to try something that may not reappear. So
that's
try
true.
it while you can.
We'll
Now,
keep doing it.
I've had my eye on the billboard for this, and a couple of us are drinking this right now. The Noble Hops Pilsner, right?
Yes.
What can you tell us about that?
Well, there was a beer many years ago. Sam Adams made it, and they made it with all Noble hops. I think it was Noble.
The choicest
Pils.
Noble hops, I think, for the commercial.
I believe
side.
so. Yeah. It was an awesome beer. I loved it. It was right as I was starting to become a beer geek, and I've always loved the idea of it. Like, let's make a German style pilsner, or pilsner with only Noble hops. Noble hops are basically just there's 5 of them, specific varieties of hops that from many years ago, hundreds of years ago, I'd say. They decided that these are noble hops. They're the choicest of all the hops. They have the best flavors. And
Don't mess with them.
Don't mess with them. They're the best. And so we use all those hops.
So you're pushing 10 years.
So
What took you so long to make a Noble Hop Pilsner?
But does that mean that those hops are like they've not crossbreeded with anything or evolved?
Yeah.
Or they're
right. Yeah.
That's the nobility part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They only grown in Germany, or what are we talking?
In Czech, Saz is the other one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Middle fruit, Spalt, Tetning.
You ever been there?
No, middle fruit is like middle early. Fru is early, so
Early.
Fru.
I love this.
It's got the ooh, the dots over the
Yeah,
u.
so this is great. We can just have a conversation and turn to Tyler and say, what does that mean? in
What,
German?
hey, what's he talking about?
Say that in German.
Yeah, well,
You ever heard of a bratwurst? I mean,
gosh,
weird.
it sounds
So
familiar.
Talk about that.
I love how he actually just volunteers things, where it's like, hey, I went to Walmart. That's Walmart.
Walmart.
What are you talking about?
Grandma always called it the Volmark.
That's common in this county. Well, let me ask this. So a bratwurst, what does brat mean? I don't even know.
Braten is to fry or grill.
So it's
It's not really to grill. It'd be to fry, like on a black
skillet,
stone,
like a
black
okay,
stone or
gotcha.
something.
Yeah. So
Braten is to braise or grill. So
sour braten is
bratwurst is a
sausage?
a grilled sausage, essentially, or it's meant to be grilled.
that's what
Gotcha.
German
There
is
you go.
for bratwurst. There you go.
See, it means something. It's not just bratwurst.
My absolute all-time favorite, you can't find them in the U.S., is Thüringer Rostbratel.
Okay. Okay.
It's in the state of Thuringen. There's 16 German states. So in the
Okay.
state of Thuringen, where I happened to live when I was going to university,
Yes.
they have the UE or the EU actually protects the recipe because it's just like champagne to region of France or
But that's the Thüringer
Thüringer
sausage
roast
that
Or
yes.
zilch
Okay,
to
and
stubborn.
what's the deal with that though? Because I've had some of those before.
It is it's
They're a little different, but they're
it's how the meat is ground, and I think
Oh, okay.
ultimately it's the mixture of pork and beef that goes with
Oh,
it.
okay. All right.
So they're just fantastic.
Yeah.
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 I was happy with what I had. I think it was from G&W.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's a Stiegelmeier out of they're in a suburb of Chicago. It's all German sausage company, and if you really want to knock the socks off a German loving person you might know, maybe me. My birthday. Sorry, my birthday was just passed, but they've got a lot of pretty authentic stuff, and
Cool.
I think they have Thüringer roast bratwurst. So
Nice.
yeah,
Now you know.
yeah, Leberkäse and
Leberkäse. Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Blutwurst, and I mean
Blutwurst.
all kinds of good stuff.
What is it? Geflügelwurst?
Geflügelwurst, yeah.
It's sausage made from things with wings.
Yes, very
Made from Geflügels?
Hot dog.
Damn. Well, hot dogs are not
Hot
made.
dogs
Oh,
are
I mean,
it's Vienna.
you've been going to Vienna sausage.
That's it. The authentic ones.
Ach du meine Güte. Or as the Germans would say, oha.
Yes.
Now, I got to say, I'm noticing
Lieber.
when you're speaking German that it almost has like a nice soft
Yeah.
approach to it. But when we speak German, it's usually there's shouting and
It's
aggressiveness, maybe banging on the table.
Closed fist.
Yeah.
A lot of anger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It's
like,
aggressive.
why is that German reputation for, like,
Well,
aggressive speech?
Well, there was just one guy.
Just
yeah,
the one guy.
he
Is
had
that
a-
really what it comes down to?
Oh, that guy?
Not necessarily. I mean, he had kind of a funny little mustache and kind of a Bavarian. He liked to roll his R's really hard, like, "Grrr, ah." It's in your throat.
Okay.
But, I don't know. It doesn't have to sound nasty.
Right.
German doesn't have to. I mean, yeah, I guess if you're like speaking official, because you're a government official, you have to say it very sternly and roll your R's and all this stuff. But you really don't have to get into it.
Maybe
like
that's
that.
what it is. It's just
Day-
the stereotype
day-to-day-
of
Yeah, it is a stereotype.
Nazis or something. But
Well, I don't even know that it's Nazis, but just
Right.
like really.
It's a caricature, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, you've got a lot of different dialects, and they sound very different from one another in terms of just some are very aggressive, like Bayerisch. In Bavaria, I mean, basically every German state, pretty well, and then a few exceptions, even have their own dialect. And it's if somebody's speaking Saxon, I can't understand what they're saying.
So
I
the
mean,
dialects are that different.
Yeah, it's
It's not like talking to somebody from Perryville.
It would be as stark in the U.S. It would be like going to Thibodaux, Louisiana, and speaking to a true blue Cajun that
Right.
if you're from Portland, Oregon.
Right. It would be that much different.
Yeah.
And I mean, they couldn't even understand most of what they were trying to converse. Right? They'd have
And
end up
that
having to
happens.
use their hands to try to sign language.
You see that in the cities and all kinds of
Yeah.
stuff.
But it's more so there. But I mean, most Germans today can speak Hochdeutsch, and it's they've learned that in the schools basically post-war. So, yeah.
What I find fascinating about German is how technical of a language it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like oral acrobatics for a lot of this
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, why are they so long? Tyler, can you read this word for me?
Yes.
It's
yes.
right. It's
how many,
right
how
there.
many letters?
That's the first line of it,
one
and there's
word,
the second
4
line
lines.
of it. I found a different one than I showed you earlier.
Rindfleischigkeit, Ketterungsüberwachungsaufgaben Untertragungsgesetz.
That's one word?
Does it say "wow" in there?
This is his new beer.
No, it doesn't say that.
It rolls off the tongue.
Wow.
Still going.
Überwachungs.
Still going.
Aufgaben unter
Almost there.
Untertragungs. Wow. Yeah,
You done?
No, that's
That's only the first half.
schwierig.
Don't forget that.
That's difficult.
That changed the whole.
Wow.
Schwer. Schwierig.
So that word means, let's see, it refers to a law about beef labeling and its supervision.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean it's very important. I mean everybody knows that one.
If you don't do that, you're going to the pokey.
Yeah.
I mean you can't have beef without that gazettes. The law,
Without
as it were.
The gazettes, yeah, that's the law.
Gazettes.
Yeah, they broke it down. There's like, it says Reinfleisch is beef, and Etikettierungs is labeling, and Überwachungs.
Here's Tyler.
I
Oh my
think
God.
I may need
Tyler's dying.
I may need a professional to clean out my ears after this.
You'll need to go back to school.
Should I keep going?
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah, fingernails on the chalkboard and all.
Aufgaben.
Aufgaben.
we're always just like-
Is that good?
Yeah, sehr gut.
That means duties.
We usually just think, man, Chris really knows how to speak German. That's crazy.
No, now that we have somebody
Übertragungs.
qualified.
Übertragungs.
Übertragungs. See,
Übertragungs.
that's transfer/delegation because that needs to be in that word too.
So really what's happening is it's just one run-on sentence where the words are all pushed together.
Why not
with no
just space
spaces.
them out? Why wouldn't you
Because
put a
that's
space
for
there?
weak
It's more,
Americans.
but it's more efficient. It takes up less space on the book. in the
Absolutely.
book. I mean, you think about it. I mean,
That's
they
right.
they invented the printing press.
One less piece of paper.
Paper's expensive.
Very
You gotta-
expensive.
You have to conserve
more,
it.
you
We
could
do.
complete
Yeah.
more of the idea with less stopping and less breath. And ink.
Und ink.
Und ink.
Und
And
ink.
real estate on the paper.
Und ink.
German word for ink
Ink.
might be ink. So many of these I look
You may
them
have
up.
stumped me
Oh,
on that one.
we
I
got
don't
it.
know
There
that
you
I
go.
know the
Nice
German
job.
word for ink.
Talk amongst yourselves. I'll figure it out.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh, love it.
I mean, you once upon a time. I mean, I'm
Tinte.
Tinte. So I am an avid.
That's what he was just going to say.
And just so you guys know, I've listened to every podcast episode.
God
And
bless
so
you.
I
You're
travel.
the one.
I'm the one guy. I know you see the analytics, and I'm the one
Apologize
guy.
already.
But I travel a lot for work. I'm driving 45,000 miles a year. I've got time.
We are big in Perryville with
Yeah.
one guy.
We're big in his dashboard, I think.
Yeah, yeah. But I believe your German word of the day once was Kugelschreiber,
It was.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
and it's ink pen.
It's the ink pen. Yeah.
So
Did you
From
see
the,
Oh, yeah,
it's
you've
back
got
here. There's a
there.
mug that says
Yeah.
Kugelschreiber on it. Yeah.
Kugelschreiber.
I think I pronounced it wrong. I think I pronounced it Kugelschreiber.
You
See, I
may
always
have.
get
That's
the
why I
I
didn't
and
get
the
it.
I mixed
Well,
up.
That's why I didn't get it
I
right.
got a little fun thing about
All right,
that.
tell me. How would I remember?
So, okay. Dr. Eckert.
E before I.
So the second vowel takes the sound.
Okay.
So Scheißen, Scheisen.
Okay, okay.
You know what that means,
Oh, yeah.
don't you? All right. Well, congratulations. And then Schießen is to shoot, like to shoot a gun. Is Schießen.
Schießen. Oh, so
So-
you need to get those letters
Get
correct.
that right.
So way back in my early days at SEMO,
I just shot my pants.
Dr. Eckert always.
Schießen my Scheiße. Or the other way around.
That's not the right word, but I know what you mean. Oh boy!
Oh my God.
So every time that you'd be reading in class with Dr. Eckert, she would say if you messed up the e and the I sounds, she'd say Schießen, Scheißen. And the story, and I mean she was from Zwickau, so she was right on the Polish border. She was very Ostdeutsch. I mean East German, very interesting. Anyway, she's a famous poet. Who knew? But she would always tell a story. She had a student come to her that had been backpacking through Europe one summer and came back the next semester and said, "Yeah, Dr. Eckert, it was a really good time." And they were just conversing. And she said, "But I do have one question. I was going through a lot of nature parks and like the forest, and there was all these signs that said No shitting. Why can't you shit in the forest? She's like, what are you going to do if
'Cause
you
you're
just
not a bear.
if you just got to go?
Not here, you won't.
And she was just like, no, that doesn't make sense. She's just like, spell it for me. So she did, and she's like, no, you have it mixed up. That is no shooting. This is a protected area. You can't hunt
Yeah,
here.
don't hunt here.
No
Come on.
shooting, not no shitting. You know, that's they kind of frown on
Feel
shitting
free
in
to
the.
shit.
You can shiza all you want.
And if there was
Well,
no
there's
skiing,
no
it'd be no shussing.
So there you go. A little,
great.
you know.
Nice.
Wait a minute.
shizing.
So the biathlon event is shooting and skiing.
Yeah.
In German, it's
Skiing.
skiing
Yeah.
and shooting.
Schießen.
She's and Sheehan.
Sheezen and Sheehan?
Schießen and Skiing.
I just feel like I'll never learn this
Well,
language.
I think I knew that.
Ski lift is Skilauf.
Of course.
Of course it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to throw this one at you. This is my last name. What's the proper pronunciation?
Este.
Este. That's
So I mean, so if it, maybe at one point in time it would have been spelled O with the dots over, possibly, not necessarily,
that
but
would have
it
been a little more.
could have been.
Este.
U. So when you make the
That's what the
umlaut,
girls would always say when I'd show up. Here's Este.
Este. Oste. Este. It's not an Oste. Oste. Sorry,
Can you isolate that? I need that.
I got to
Yes.
That's my new ringtone.
It's done. It's done.
It's not este. It's este.
Hey, I don't even need any royalty for that. It's all,
That's
it's
fantastic. Well, so in Spanish, it means west.
yeah.
So
Wait, what?
My last name means west in Spanish.
Este
No,
does not mean east. It means
it's oeste
west.
in Spanish. It's oeste.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
OS day.
Oeste. It's spelled the same. And when my ancestors came here, nobody could pronounce that, so they just call it Osti.
Yeah.
And I had met in 1988. It was pretty fun. My mom was going through the newspaper in Chicago in Park Ridge, where we lived, and the Elgin Symphony Orchestra was featuring a solo performance by Wolfgang Osti and Patty Ludvigsen.
Oh wow.
Okay. So she's like, Wolfgang Osti, who the hell is that? Right? And we thought we knew all the, local Osti. Well, so we go to the performance, and Wolf is unbelievable, and Patty's phenomenal. And my dad gave his business card to the usher, and he said, can you get this to the performers? Maybe we can get a chance to meet them, And the short story is that he delivered this business card. Well, we get kind of called backstage, and this guy, Wolfgang, looks, if you took my dad and my dad's brother,
No.
Wolf would be the third. I mean, they just
Wow.
and they have the same sense of humor. And Wolfgang's like, I thought somebody printed these cards and was BSing me, right?
Right.
And Wolf was from Kassel in Germany, which is where my lineage was. But then he went to Canada and he lived up there, and then became a world-renowned opera singer, right? And met his wife Patty, and the two of them toured the globe performing. And Wolf's like, yeah, you guys are all right, but you pronounce your last name wrong because it's Este. So him and my dad used to go back and forth about that. But coincidentally, today, his daughter, Mika, is touring the world as a professional opera singer. She performed with Placido Domingo for years.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
My cousin.
Your cousin.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So somebody got the talent. It wasn't
Cousin
me.
Este.
Yeah.
Chris has probably got that album at home.
I do, yeah. Yeah. Placido.
That's it.
Yeah.
Placido Osti.
Okay.
Well, I mean, German to me is, like I said, it's a fascinating language. It's easy to make fun of if you don't know what you're talking about. And it's a fun kind of impersonation to do if you get wound up. And
It is.
I have a cousin who was home to exchange students that came over from Germany, and this is back in the late 80s, early 90s, and those guys are like family even today. Mark Schwenke was one of them, and Florian was another dude.
Oh, Florian, such a great name.
Yeah. So Florian, Mark was laughing because my ridiculous German caricature. Mark's like, that's Florian. Florian's one of these amped up guys.
Nice.
And Mark is more technical in his speak, but That's cool. So, do you said before the company you worked for got bought by a German company.
Yeah.
Do you use this professionally at all today, or
Somewhat. So,
you will when you go to the world's biggest ag show?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I was actually the company to clarify, the company I left the company and I've started a new job, but the company I'd worked for, they had their own farm show for their own customers in Germany last fall. And I was able to go over and actually use German because a lot of the dealers that were there, the equipment dealers, they couldn't speak enough English to do any good, and I was representing some American products over there. And you figure out real fast, wow, I know a little more than I thought I did, or at least we can communicate
Enough to
about
get
it.
by.
Kind of pick it up.
Yeah,
No.
well, and it's different too. What I learned is, in university, you're learning stuff about poetry and literature and all this. Well, that's not technical terminology. I mean,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
like, what's the word for torque, and what's the word for horsepower, and
Yeah.
what's the word, so on and so forth. What's a brake caliper auf Deutsch? I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
But I can tell you about a combine.
Yeah.
For
sure.
Dreschkörper.
Well, so that's interesting. So some of those other vendors might have been from all over the world.
Yeah. There was people right across the way from me from Finland.
Yeah.
And I tried to
All
speak
the way
German to
from
them because I thought they were German. And they looked at me and they're like, we don't speak much German, but we speak good English.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try that.
And I'm like, I don't really know any Finnish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or when to.
Oh, nice. And he's quick.
Hot dog.
Dang.
Again, worst.
It's the worst.
Hot to worst.
So if I was going to plan a trip to go to Germany, what kind of what would I need to know? What do I really?
German first. Start with.
How much time do I guess is the real question. How much time do I need to devote to learning the keywords? I need to know where to buy a beer first. I need to know where the bathroom is second.
Yeah.
I don't know what else I need. What else do I need to really?
Well, I mean,
Is this a 2-week crash course? Is it a 2-month?
It just depends. It depends where you're going and what you want to accomplish.
Breweries?
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Sausage
that's about
fests
it.
and stuff like that.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, where they originated.
Yes.
I would say 2 weeks is more than ample
Okay.
to figure that out. Yeah. I mean, there's people that tell me that you go on Babbel and in a month you're conversational, which I don't know. Never
So my
tried it.
brother's doing that right now, and he's got 3 months into it, and he said he doesn't know a single word. Well, are you trying to remember?
You got to put it.
Wow.
And you.
No, I think he just
you gotta
bought it.
speak
I don't
it.
know that he does.
You've got to
Yeah.
combine it with some stubborn. I mean,
Yeah.
it matters. So I
Is
don't.
your Maschkrug leer?
Yeah, Maskug ist leer. Schade.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Es tut mir leid.
I remember. I don't know what you just said.
I'm sorry about that.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
But that's a problem that can be solved though.
It
I
is.
have a couple questions.
Yeah.
First one, I see this term with regards to the names of businesses and companies, and it's added to the end, and it looks like GmbH.
Yeah.
What is that? Is that mean like incorporated?
It's like an incorporation, yeah.
Okay. Now I got that down. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
GmbH, it's I don't remember the exact wordage, but it's basically like a corporation or an LLC type thing.
And it's a mixture of lower and uppercase. It's just kind of always struck me as being a little goofy looking.
Yeah, GmbH with the period at the end, capital G. Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's just a Verkürzung. A
That's
shortening
all
of
it is.
It's just a Verkürzung.
A Verkürzung it's a shortening of the word is all.
Why would they want to do that in German?
I don't know. Wouldn't they want to spell it out and then add 3 other words to it? That would make
with
sense,
no
right?
spaces. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Spaces, nobody has time for that.
No, it's a waste. So the next one is
Waste.
the crop shows and the ag shows, I should
Yeah.
say. What are some of the staple crops in Germany? How does it compare to here?
Yeah, so I'd say animal agriculture is overall extremely prominent. There's some grain growing regions of Germany. You go to the eastern side, which is the former East Germany, larger farms. They were communist style farms, and they'll use big equipment like we might see around Waterloo here today. But in the west and the southern, like in Bavaria, a large farm's 50 acres. I mean, that's a decent sized farm. If you have 250 acres, you're the king.
You are
King
the-
Ludwig.
King Ludwig.
taking over.
He wasn't a farmer, but yeah, I know what you mean. But yeah, so I mean, grain. They in the northern Germany they do a lot of sugar beets, and they. So what was really interesting in ag that kind of blew my mind, the first couple times I went more recently in the last 5 years, is they do a lot of Biogasanlage, they call it. And basically they do like these biogas reactors, so that you have to feed so you're making methane, right? You're making methane and CO2. And they're using that methane to burn for energy. So they're heating water. Local municipalities, they're heating water region. Like, there's a big biogas plant outside of town, and they pump the hot water in, and it heats your home. And the CO2 they're capturing because of just trying to be healthy for the planet, whatever. They're doing with whatever with the CO2, I don't know. But you have to feed those biogas reactors. So there's corn all over the place. But they don't harvest the corn with a combine. They chop it up into little pieces like you might for a dairy farm, or like silage. But they're not feeding it to cattle. They're feeding it to their biogas reactors.
To the bugs.
Yeah, they're feeding it to the bugs.
Very interesting.
And it's mind-boggling. The farming is very heavily subsidized. So, I mean, the government dictates through their policy a lot of the choices that growers can make. But outside of that, I mean, there's still a ton of hay made, feed for animals, a lot of grain, so wheat, barley, rye, things like that. Soybeans, you'd be hard-pressed to find soybeans. I have seen one field of soybeans in Germany. It looked terrible. But, bear in mind, too, central
Could you
Germany.
quickly point out they're doing it wrong?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just like, man, I thought
Because they do to
thought-
us.
I thought they would. They would.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, and all the weeds they had. Of course, they didn't have Roundup either, so, that's a bad word over there. Yeah, they're kind of
It's too short.
limited.
Yeah.
It's too short.
Needs to be longer.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
Long one.
but yeah, it's a lot of animal agriculture. A lot of chickens, turkeys, pigs,
Schwein.
cattle. Yeah, Schwein. Rindfleisch. Rind is cattle, cows, beef.
Yeah, I have that right here.
You had
You're
the
gonna
Rindfleisch.
Learn it yet.
That was part of that 20.
I said Rindfleisch, I believe.
You did. But I didn't want to talk over you.
I had the
so.
Fleisch part right.
He also
Yeah, you
canoed
did.
down the Rind River once.
I did. I did not. The Rind.
Okay, I need pronunciation checks on two things. The first one, and both these could have been words of the day, but
You never know.
I don't get the luxury to pick. Right?
Oh.
It's his show.
Is that right?
Oh, really? And I always thought you did.
Immigradaus.
Immigrata House.
Yeah.
So you go straight forward forever.
Bingo. Yeah. Am I saying it right?
Immigrata House. Yeah, you're
nice.
saying it right. I understood what she said.
My
Yeah.
grandmother used to say that all the time.
Yeah.
Like when the shice is hitting the fan, it's Immigrata House.
You just got to keep
Always
going
moving forward.
You got to always keep going.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
House.
The other
I like
is, of course, one of my favorite songs, which culminates with Der Gemütlichkeit.
The happy feeling of just happiness.
Yes.
The overwhelming der Gemütlichkeit.
That's right.
Yeah, we could. This could be a music video. Write that down.
How
Write
many more
that down.
pints liters do you need before we?
I haven't had the. I haven't had the. I haven't
You
had
need
the
a
first
Gemütlichkeit.
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 Wow. Can you spell that for
We need
us?
a Gemütlichkeit.
You definitely need that. And it needs to be pegged all the time. Yeah.
For real.
I'm saying.
Dude, that's a good idea.
there's a
It could be
t-shirt,
like a
too.
decibel meter, but we'll just change it to.
If you make that a T-shirt, you're going to sell at least two of them.
Three.
I'll
I'll
buy
buy.
one.
I'll buy a couple and give them to my friends.
The Gemütlichkeit.
That's awesome. That's the name of the next podcast.
You're gonna have to make those before you make this podcast public because
Make it
somebody
available.
else is
ready.
going to run
That's
with
right.
that.
That's
They're
right.
going to be pausing
I know.
and grabbing the phone and ordering. Like, boom.
Let's,
They're not even going to hear the end of this podcast.
We got to put that on the T-shirt store.
You got to get the trademark application in now.
Yes.
Or
Yeah.
the German government will come after you. This is not allowed.
You may not.
Das ist verboten. Verboten.
So that's an interesting thing. You don't really associate that euphoria state of freedom and happiness with the German culture.
Yeah, but I don't
very
know. I
straightforward.
mean,
Yeah.
but I mean, there's
That's the
places,
stereotype,
but there-
American stereotype.
But there's places you can go in Germany and be completely naked in public.
You just have to be angry about it.
FKK, Freikörperkultur. FKK. I mean,
the naked
hey, the
place.
town I lived in, it was Jena, Germany. Jena. It looks like Jena, but it's Jena.
Jena.
And it's former East Germany, and they love Freikörperkultur.
Of course.
And walking through town to my buddy's apartment on the other side of town, you had to walk past a lake. And this time of the year when it's hot, what do people do? They hang
Fry
out at
pulp
the
and
lake.
couture.
They hang out.
They hang out,
Oh.
and there was one dude that was always hanging out, if you know what I mean.
Really?
I mean, it was
hung out
hello, yeah,
Well, that's kind of a European thing, though.
yeah.
too.
It was quite European,
Very European.
Sounds it.
very European.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, and I think somebody like that was really Gemütlichkeit. I mean, the guy
For
looked
sure.
happy, like he was just living life, and
It was him and no one else.
his
didn't-
meter was pegged.
he didn't, his needle was pegged. Yes, yeah, he was pretty popular with the American
With the Fräuleins.
students. Yeah, the American Fräuleins, they were quite intrigued by this
Interesting.
because there's not a lot of places
This is only
you can
the
do
first
that in
episode.
America.
I know, it's
Yeah.
great.
Gosh.
It's been too long.
Good times.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what we need to do? We're going to have you back. You need to come back and do this show again.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll dress up if you want. And I mean, I'd even wear.
It's better than the opposite.
We're not talking FKK. We're talking.
No, we're not.
Okay.
We're talking. Lederhosen.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Of course.
Good.
I mean, Chris, have you considered doing a podcast at the Stubborn Fest?
Well, we did.
We did.
We have
done
done
that
it.
once.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
It
season.
kind of
Obviously
went
very-
off the rails.
Very loud too.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
yeah. It's noisy. It's tough to. My thought. I was going to do like the on the Stern show, like how Gary Delabate would just like run around at these events and just go find a guest. Like here, talk to this guy for a while because Kevin can get a good story out of a rock if he needs to. So I'm just like, here, someone talk to Kevin, and so I go grab somebody, and it was just me running around, and then like we had kegs going empty, and my wife's like, oh, we got to change a keg. I'm like, I'm doing a podcast, but I'll do the keg right after that.
I think that was the challenge. Is you have so many other responsibilities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But I'm open to doing it again.
Yeah.
we'll have him as a short guest. We'll
short
just grab
guest.
you every once in a while,
Yeah.
and you can run around do your other stuff.
What would a short guest be called?
Whew.
Poof? No.
I don't know how to say that without insulting. Like being
That's what I was
completely
wondering.
insulting. Yeah, I'd have to think about.
Well,
the
it's in a
polite-
different language,
the
so I wouldn't
polite-
know anyway.
Well, but there's people listening in Czechoslovakia that,
Slovenia.
Slovenia.
Slovenia, yes.
Huge in Slovenia.
and you know how you say cheers in Slovak? No zdravia.
Nazdravia.
No zdravia.
Zdravia.
Yeah, there were some people from Slovakia when I was in Germany. Quite nice people.
It's like going to Wisconsin.
I mean, I remember going to Prague once, and I got off the train, and I'm like, wow, there's like dudes sitting around in like, under like white beater T-shirts and ball caps. I'm like, I have found the rednecks of Europe. I felt at home. All of a sudden,
Rodnecks.
I found you.
all of a
The
sudden,
Rottnecks.
all of a sudden, I felt like, oh man, I'm relaxed now. I found my people. It was quite nice.
You had a low-level Gemütlichkeit going on.
I would say high level, actually. They just didn't care. They were just living life, having fun.
That's a great thing.
Like, there's laws and rules. We don't care. We're just going to drink beer and have a good time.
In our wife beaters.
And they're wife beaters, so they got to be comfortable.
What's wrong with
You
that?
don't want to be too hot. You want to get a good tan.
That's it.
It was better than the mankinis, though. But that's a story for another time.
That is. We'll pin that for the next
Yeah,
one.
let's get back
Because
to
I
that.
can hear the collective
Pronunciations and hanging out. What they really want to know about is the German word of the day.
Oh, do they, Jared?
Yes,
Oh, you must mean Weisheit.
exactly.
Let's see. Kevin,
cheese log, is that what you said?
no, Jared says vegetable, not,
Right.
not cheese log.
I would take a good cheese log.
Kevin
Or
said
was it green fruit?
word of the day.
Yes.
Word of the day.
But Tyler, what does it mean?
Knowledge.
Wisdom is what you
Wisdom.
said.
Knowledge, wisdom.
Google Translator says wisdom, and that's what you said. So
Damn.
you
Oh, wow.
win. You
Hot.
win. Ding ding ding
Man.
ding ding ding.
Is
ding,
there a
ding.
prize today?
Yeah, pull the confetti.
Look at all that confetti.
If we were at the brewery, I would. Congratulations, sir.
Well,
Glitter allowed.
And he corrected himself, too. He
He
started
did. He
somewhere
circled
else
back
and came
and
around.
They really had to
he
think
figured it
about
out.
No,
Yep.
that is incorrect.
That
After first review.
There's only one correct answer.
Yeah, I was fifth.
Chris always sounds like Arnold.
That's the only one I know to do.
Okay, Chris, ready? It's
Yeah.
not a tumor.
Not a tumor. To the chopper.
Man,
Very good. Well, congratulations on your
Yeah,
win.
your
You're-
big win.
You're one of the 3 or 4. How
You
many
got
people
it. You got it
I got
once.
it
Well,
once. Yeah.
Kevin's gotten it a couple times.
I actually got it twice.
Have any guests got it?
Ooh,
I feel like someone
Might be-
did, and I'm not.
No,
thinking
somebody
of it.
did.
Someone
yeah,
did.
you had somebody else. We had somebody else on that spoke German.
Oh,
but I almost
Tom
think-
Calhoun did.
Tom did.
Oh,
Tom
yeah,
Calhoun
yeah,
did. Yep. when Tom Kelly was, I did
That was a
cup.
surprise.
What's cup?
Cup?
Yeah.
But it depends which kind of cup you're talking
Like
about.
the Stanley
Trophy.
Cup.
Yeah, Stanley
The Stanley Cup. I think.
Well,
you
that's
would
why I
just say
did it.
Yeah, 'cause
But
you-
anyway, so yeah, he just goes, well, that's cup.
You could say glass. You could say glass or krug.
No,
Either
it
way.
wasn't. That was too easy. But yeah, anyway,
There's like 8 different words to say
okay.
cup.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I said one that he knew, and
Bam. Yeah, that
then
was
found
a
out
good
that he does speak German. So
Diggity.
one. Yeah, he was a sleeper on that one.
he sure was. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right.
Well, hey, Tyler, this was a lot of fun. Thanks for joining us.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah,
it's been
for
a
sure.
pleasure. Actually, you get to see the guys that I've been listening to for I don't know how many years now.
He likes to see Chris.
It's like the fourth. We're in the
fourth
fifth
season?
season,
Fifth season,
so
huh?
yeah.
Is
Wow.
It's not every year is a different season.
It's kind of it shifted a little bit.
How do you-
We had a very short fourth season. Let's put it that way.
All right.
Only like 6 episodes.
A year is a season then. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it has probably been at least 3 years, if not
It's
4
been
years.
it's been
yeah.
at least 3.
yeah.
Yeah. I think
But
so.
it seems longer, right? If you're listening, it seems way longer.
I know that we just celebrated our 9th anniversary of doing the VA radio podcast.
Oh, wow.
That's
Wow.
9 years.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
That's 46 seasons, and depending on who you ask.
That is
And you guys are like a legit podcast, not
That
like
is-
this.
yeah,
this
yeah.
operation.
They like for real podcast.
No, I mean the only thing that lends a little bit of legitimacy is we recently got ranked in the top 100 automotive podcasts by a service called Million Podcasts that nobody's ever heard of.
Okay.
But we actually came in number 19 out of 100.
Holy
wow.
cow!
Congratulations.
And then,
awesome.
and then in the classic car side, we're number 6.
Wow.
So that was pretty cool. So
That's very cool.
I don't know what it means, but
Well,
I didn't
you
get a
know.
big Ed McMahon check in the mail, or
Nothing like that. Huh? No. They just said, "Here you go."
it's just something to do for fun.
Did you ask them where the Stubborn German podcast ranks? in
Yeah.
We're gonna search it out.
Top 100?
I would say
of,
like
Tune-
first among
mean-
American German,
German
brewery
podcast in
in
Waterloo.
Waterloo.
with 3 people
Yeah.
in.
right.
In the German Word of the Day competition.
Yeah, I would say we're number 1.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt.
Take it.
Well, you need to submit this one for your.
Yes,
If there's
for
a
the
place
Emmy.
to submit it. What's Emmy in German?
Emmy?
Yeah.
Emmy.
How about is there no?
Can you make something else
a
up?
German award, like a prestigious German award.
Yeah.
That he needs to win.
Yes, I need to win it.
Podcast needs to win something. We're put on the backside of the Gemütlich meter.
Yeah, on the backside of it, and we can have it rotating, a rotisserie of.
Gemütlichkeit Weltmeisterschaft.
Meisterschaft goes.
Meisterschaft.
Meisterschaft. I've been called that before.
Oh, wow.
All right. If you like the show, there's no way you didn't.
How could you not?
You need to push that subscribe button, and the next Stubborn German podcast will just zing right into your mailbox, and you'll be able to enjoy it anytime you want.
Meisterschaft.
Yes, with Captain Meisterschaft himself, Mr. Chris Vernon, Mr. Jared Chasson, and Mr. Tyler Buchheit. My name is Kevin Ossie. Thanks for joining, and as we say at the end of every one of these episodes,
Prost.
We are recording.
Oh, good.
all right.
Too bad I'm out of good material since I
Yeah.
burned it up already.
Blew it all in the pre-game there.
Might not have anything to talk about on the podcast.
Pretty sure that's not going to happen.
What, the podcast?
That could be.
All right, well, here we go.